So let's go back and let's talk commissions. Let's talk commissions. Let's talk building a business. Okay. Now, building a business is obviously, and growing that is obviously about being able to build a team. You want to build a team. But if you're going to build a team, you got to give a person a reason to join your team, right? All right. So if you can talk about the tax advantages of a home-based business, that's a reason because they're going to get more tax. They're going to save more in tax and it's going to cost them doing business. If you can talk about a strategy that you used or someone that you know used that was able to generate significant cash flow independent of recruiting, because what's always the biggest concern, even if they don't say it in when you're recruiting somebody, even if they don't admit it, they are thinking, I don't know if I can do it. And I might just lose my money. I might be just wasting my money by investing in this if I can't recruit and build a team. And in most companies, that would be the scenario. But in myECon, that's not the case because we've got people that's made hundreds of thousands of dollars just using the strategies. And then when you use the strategies, get the cash, invest the cash. Couple quick examples. Keith Tucker, and he's not anywhere near the biggest. One of our leaders up in Washington, up in the Washington, D.C. area. He came in, he was in a financial mess. Him and his wife had a couple kids, young couple at the time. He's been with us now for 8 years, okay? Well, when Keith joined, his credit score was 520. He came in, he changed his W-4 between him and his wife. They got $1,100 a month. They started paying off debt. The credit score went up, okay? From that, he was able to start recruiting. So they paid off $100,000 of debt their first 12 months in myECon. When the debt was gone, that freed up $2,414 a month. Now they took the $2,414 a month. They took $1,500 of that and started investing, which they've been doing ever since. Now, I would say that 99% of the people in network marketing have never made as much from commissions, independent of the company, from commissions as Keith and his wife Cheyenne have made from using the strategies. So if somebody told you, they said, hey, I made $50,000 using strategies, well, I'll do one even simpler. Let's say somebody say, I saved $5,000 on my taxes last year. And somebody else said, well, I made $5,000 in commissions. Well, which one of them got the better deal? Most people would say commissions, but not really, because the commissions are taxable. And the $5,000 they saved on taxes is tax free. It's already been taxed. So when you broaden that conversation, you broaden the people that you can recruit and you get those people to stay longer. So I encourage everybody, use the strategies. And there's a strategy for everybody. Obviously, I've been doing this for 40 some years. So I don't need the debt strategy. I paid off all my debt many, many years ago. I don't need the credit strategy, even though I like to keep a good credit score and I have no debt. So I use 7 credit cards. I just rotate them to keep my credit score high, pay them off at the end of that month. So I keep my credit score high. Okay. But the tax strategy, I save $40,000 to $50,000 using the tax strategy every year. The mileage on my car, the travel, everything. I do it all through my business. All my charitable donation, I do it through my business. So now that is a great strategy. Okay. We got Jeanette Butler. She's a millionaire. Okay. Now she's done much better than Keith. She's older, right? She came in with me way back in, a long time ago, 1995. Paid off all of her, changed her W-4. She was a nurse. Her husband was a mechanic. They paid off so they changed her W-4, paid off all their debt. Took them about 4 years to pay off all their debt. Then they took that money, and that was including the mortgage, and started investing. She's got about $3.4 million sitting in her mutual funds because that's what we invested in back then. She's been doing it so long, she's not going to change. Okay. And that's straight investing. See, it would be wonderful if everybody was Bill and Dan. Man, what I wouldn't give for about 1,000 of those. I even take 500 of them, okay? I mean, they can recruit and train and do all that. But, I can't call 1-800, send me a bill. Everybody doesn't have that talent. Hey, I don't know how to use social media, but it didn't stop me from becoming a multimillionaire because I found a strategy that wins. Okay. And that wins. So so even if you say, well, I don't have any debt. Well, my credit's great. Okay, then use the tax strategies. So you can create a testimony. So you have to create a testimony. A testimony doesn't just happen to you, you make it happen. So if I help somebody change their W-4, bam, they got a testimony. Hey, my first strategy, I got an extra $200 a month in take home pay, 300 a month, 400 a month. Now, what are you going to do with that to turn it into the big picture? You're going to invest it, you're going to pay off debt, because that's your conversation piece. That's your testimony that's going to get other people to come in business with you when you create that testimony. Now, let's talk about recruiting. We're going to do big picture. You guys got some of the best trainers in the country, in the industry, as leaders. I mean, you got great leaders. You got Kirsty, you got Dan, you got, Bill. They know how to recruit. They know how to train, they know how to develop. Okay. So obviously, you want to always refer people back to Teachable Tuesdays so they can stay motivated and excited and enthused, because that's going to be the key. In other words, the training is more important for the members, the current members. They get more out of it than just guests, because we all need that motivation every week, because out there in life, we always, getting beat up with something, right? So let's just talk about recruiting. We got three levels of our pay system. The first part of our pay system is, and we're going to do the high level points the way you can look at it. Obviously, if you bring somebody in for the $44.95, that's our financial success membership, you're going to make $35 the next Friday. Okay. So then if they stay in 1 month, which, should be having 90% of people do that, you get another $750 bonus. So that's $42.50 on a $44.95 sale. That's 95% payout. Nobody in the industry is even close. Sometimes people even say, hey, Ivy, that can't be true. I said, yeah, it is. Well, why do you pay out so much? Because I know that people need encouragement. Thanks, Dan. I know people need encouragement, and you need that encouragement when you first get in. Okay. You bring somebody in for the EBM, which of course is the, 99 to get started and then $59.95 a month. Well, the commission is $70 the next Friday. Now, if they stay a month, then you're going to pick up an additional $750. So that's $77.50. That's about 88%, 80% payout. Okay. So that's the highest in the industry. So you can say, okay, so you want to bring in as many people as you can. Then when you start talking about overrides, okay, now that's based on your rank. If you got 2 people on your team, then your goal. So that override is small, right? It's on the financial success membership, it's 50 cents. On the EBM, it's $1. But as soon as you get to platinum, when you only need 10 people on your team to get to platinum, then that goes up significantly, and it's cumulative. So if you bring somebody in when you're a gold, when you make platinum, you start getting gold pay, not platinum pay. Okay. I mean, you start getting platinum commissions, not gold. Okay. You see how, okay, right here, this is your override. So you're making 50 cents. Okay. As a platinum, it's $1.50. Over here, it's $1, and it goes to $3. Okay. Now, but we have I would say some of the easiest rank guidelines in the industry. Okay. And they're cumulative. It's none of this stuff you got to do it in a month. You got to do it in 30 days. No, it's cumulative, because when you build a business, you don't build a business for a month. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a promotion or a contest to say, how hard can I go for a month? But when you build a business is a long-term proposition, and everything you do from day one should be helping you on day 1,000 and so on. Okay. Now, once you get 38 people on your team, you are an infinity. Okay. Now, as an infinity on the FSM, when the new people come in, you're getting $5. Okay. And as an EBM, you're getting $10. Now, everybody wants to get to infinity. Okay. Now, when you talk about the products, when you're talking about the strategies, our number one product, the financial success membership, that's going to be key to getting you to infinity because you're going to have great retention. You're going to have people that's going to stay in business with you years, not months, years. Because look, if I'm using my myECon membership to save me $3,000 to $5,000 a year in taxes, well, when am I going to quit? If I'm using the tax dollars to build my investment portfolio, when am I going to quit? And if I'm using the taxes to save me money on my taxes and I'm investing that money, there's nobody in this industry that has a widget or a product that's a better conversation. Example. Let's say that somebody says, well, we got a product where you can save 20% on X widget. Well, we're going to save, okay, so you spend $1,000 and you save 200. I'm like, okay, that's okay. Well, I'm going to show somebody how to save $3,000 to $5,000 a year on their taxes doing what they're already doing without spending any extra money. They're going to write off their vacation. They're going to write off their cell phone. They're going to write off their internet access. They're going to write off mileage on their car, which they were going to do these things anyway. You didn't have to go spend additional money to get some savings. And see, when that's why we have people in myECon that's been here 20 plus years. 20 plus years. And they're not going anywhere because it's about cash flow. And we all are at different places in business. But every one of us, when we got in business, even if we didn't call it that, we got in business to increase our cash flow. That's what we want to do. And we all want to have enough in cash flow that we can start investing, build some assets, and then let those assets, whether it's stocks, bonds, real estate, whatever, generate enough cash flow from those assets that we can go and do whatever we want to do in our life. That's what myEcon's about. And then finally, the last thing is the renewals. If your team is about using the strategies, lowering their taxes, getting out of debt, et cetera, okay, then you're going to have an average time of, like in myECon, our average member is in over 23 months. If they make it to 6 months, they're going to be around for some years. Okay, it's not a short-term thing. Now, as a gold, well, you're getting 50 cents a month on the financial membership, you're getting 70 on the EBM. But when you make platinum, the people that you brought in or somebody on your team brought in when you were a gold, you start getting paid platinum on those people too. It's cumulative. When you get to infinity, the same thing. If you brought them in when you were gold or platinum, now you start getting infinity. Infinity is $8 a month. Now, I mean, at an EBM, it's $11.20. Could you imagine having people on your team that you've been getting $8 a month or $11.20 a month for 10, 15, 20 years? That's a much more stable business model than a business model where you got to go do something in 30 days and hope everybody jump a hoop and then you get a bonus. myECon is based upon longevity of building a business based on a concept called cash flow shifting that's not going to change. See, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, and this year current, there's over 100 million people in America that's got a cash flow problem. Every day they deal with this cash flow problem. They need an extra 500 a month, 1,000 a month, whatever it is. They need more money. Well, if they got to keep starting over to try to get that, It's not going to work. So we're just that voice that's saying, you know what? Let's look at how this is really done. Okay, and let's look at that real quick. Corporations, you take a corporation like Google. When they first started, they were just making money on technology from the advertising. But then they created a company called Alphabet, put Google up on it, and they became an investment company. Corporations don't just make all their money just from the sale of products and services. After a while, they take that cash, some of that cash, and they start investing and they start building other assets. That's what myECon is doing. We're saying don't make all of your money just on how many people you recruited or didn't recruit, but take some of your cash from the strategies, start investing, and then be proud of that and make that a part of your conversation when you're recruiting people or when you're talking to prospective members. And now you're going to get more members, and the whole system is just going to be a cycle of growing and building cash flow through team rebuilding. And then, of course, you got the CEO position. You need 200 people to do that. But it's going to be a lot easier to get to 200 people if you got retention than it is if you don't have retention. So that's basically what we do. Some of the things that we have planned for the future in myECon is real simple. We have embraced AI. We are going to embrace it even more. It's just going to be beneficial. And the way I see us embracing AI is going to be through um, making our products through the making the strategies easier to use through AI. You know, somebody takes their credit report and simply, we hope to be here before Thanksgiving, and they simply upload it into the database that we have, and it's going to analyze their credit report and tell them what they need to do. So we see AI as being beneficial to us, not something that's going to hurt us. And then we just continue to grow and build from there.